besties, and welcome to another Genshin theory! And before I get started with today's theory, I think I should quickly acknowledge what happened in the new Inazuma Archon quest in case you missed my livestream. To make a long story short, I was right about Scaramouche and I was half right about Ball, or Beelzebul as we now know her. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. I want to revisit Khaenri'ah. It's been a long time since I've made any substantial progress with my overarching theory, and since I've been away from it for so long, I've had time to collect more information and generate new ideas. In case you forgot about my original Khaenri'ah theory, I'll quickly refresh your memory, but if you want the full, breakdown, links are in the description. Khaenri'ah was a technologically advanced, godless nation that was destroyed 500 years ago. The Abyss Order is made up of the remaining citizens of the country, led by Aether or Lumine, depending on who you chose as your traveler. Celestia is the organization in place led by the three celestial gods who have power over the Archons. 500 years ago, the celestial gods forced the Archons to kill everyone in Khaenri'ah. This is why people like Dainsleif and Kaya hate the Archons. When I hear people talk about Khaenri'ah, they mostly only bring up the Cataclysm and Khaenri'ah's innocence during it. But I don't think Khaenri'ah was entirely innocent. I agree that Celestia shouldn't have forced an attack upon them, but we need to understand why it happened in the first place. As evil as Celestia clearly is, I doubt they'd strike down an entire country for no reason. Khaenri'ah must have posed some sort of threat to them aside from being harmlessly secular. Khaenri'ah was famously very good at inventing and alchemy. Albedo was a product of Khaenri'ah's special form of alchemy called Chemia, created by a woman named Rindotir. During the Archon quest We Will Be Reunited, Dainsleif explains that Ruin Guards aren't originally called Ruin Guards, but instead Field Tillers. But the name was a misnomer. They were created as war machines, not farming equipment. I assume the same can be said for the rest of the Ruin enemy types, given that they all have similar names, designs, drops, and functions. Khaenri'ah would have no reason for building all of these autonomous weapons just for fun. Obviously they were going to use them for something, it's just a matter of figuring out what. When the new islands from Inazuma came out, one of my friends asked me to check out Seirai Island and see if I could come up with a theory for what's actually going on there. And of course I happily took her up on that. Upon first glance, Seirai Island was pretty boring to me. It's really dark and the terrain isn't particularly interesting, but there are these complicated puzzles surrounding a shallow lake in the middle of the island. The puzzles are all heavily guarded by ruin cruisers. Solving the puzzles drains the water and reveals the ruins beneath Seirai Island. The ruins are filled with decommissioned ruin guards and other active ruin enemy types. I can't fully emphasize just how many dead ruin guards are down there. One or two would be enough to make me think it's a coincidence, but MiHoYo is trying to tell us something with the amount of ruin guards there. Aside from the alarming number of ruin guards beneath Seirai Island, there's also a really obnoxious puzzle. It took me a while to finally finish it, and I normally get through puzzles fairly quickly. It's not insanely complicated or anything, but it just takes a while to get through, and it can kinda get you lost in the ruins. Anytime I see unique technology in Genshin, I immediately think of Khaenri'ah, because that was their whole thing. Given the amount of ruin guards around, the puzzle was likely manufactured by Khaenri'ahns. But why would they build this elaborate puzzle outside of their own country? I think this area is a foreign hideout for Khaenri'ahns in order to ambush Inazuma. The ruins are filled with their most common weapon, Field Tillers, and they have security measures outside to keep unwanted Inazumans out. I know it sounds outlandish to accuse Khaenri'ah of building a secret base in Inazuma, but there's one in Liyue too. In Child's Story Quest, we follow him and his younger brother Tusser into a domain. The domain is clearly a factory for building field tillers, or at least it was. The only enemies in there are slimes and ruin guards. Some of the ruin guards are still active, and the mechanisms to move them throughout the factory still work.
Those ruin guards have all been strung up. Where are they being taken to?
I don't know, but if there's a chance it's where Tusser is, we need to stop this before things get ugly.
It's been 500 years since Khaenri'ahns have been able to build field tillers, so why is the factory still active? Before I answer that, I have to quickly talk about the underground passageway from the Nameless Isle to Storm Terror's lair. So I actually didn't notice this. Twitter user @Khaenri'ahn tweeted screenshots of the pathway. It goes directly to Storm Terror's lair, which is interesting because that's where the first field tiller is. The Nameless Isle isn't even marked on the map, and because of that, you could argue that it's not even part of Mondstadt. Although this has less bearing than the Liyue and Inazuma examples, maybe the Nameless Isle was also a Khaenri'ahn secret base. Now let's get back to that factory still being active. There are two possible answers as to why. Number one, the factory was never properly shut off because all of the Khaenri'ahns there had to focus their energy on the Cataclysm and they died before they could. Or two, someone has turned it on and is currently operating it. The former is much more self-explanatory than the latter, so let's focus on that instead. If someone were to be operating the field tiller factory right now, they would have to know exactly where it is and be familiar with Khaenri'ah technology. Albedo is a definite no because despite his Khaenri'ah heritage, he has little to no memory of the country. Kaya is also a no because he's busy staging a takedown of Mondstadt's government from within, so he doesn't have time to go all the way to Liyue for that. The only other Khaenri'ah we know of is Dainsleif. Best part is, we already know Dainsleif has been in Liyue before. The domain with the stolen statue of Barbados was in Liyue. That was clearly an Abyss Order hideout, and if my theory about Dainsleif actually being allied with the Abyss Order is true, then he already would have been in Liyue for a considerable amount of time at that point. Dainsleif is also very interested in field tillers. In We Will Be Reunited, he had us go to the top of Decarabian's tower and retrieve the first field tiller's eye. Then at the end of the quest, he chased after the Abyss Order while still in possession of the eye, abandoning us in the domain. Dainsleif isn't stupid. He knows what he's doing by bringing a powerful weapon into the hands of his supposed enemies. By bringing them that eye, he gives them the power to create the mechanized god they've been talking about, and he also gives himself the power to create even stronger field tillers on a massive scale in that factory. Let's circle back to Seirai Island. Now we need to understand why Khaenri'ahs would build secret hideouts in other countries in the first place. I think it's because they were planning a war long before Celestia got the Archons to decimate their country. All ruin enemies come from Khaenri'ah, and obviously they're not farming equipment. They're weapons designed to kill. It would be a lot easier for Khaenri'ah to ambush other countries from within. Seirai Island isn't too far from Inazuma City, and the field tiller factory isn't that far from Liyue Harbor either. If Khaenri'ah played it right, they could have easily destroyed both cities. The nameless isle in Mondstadt just so happens to have dead ruin guards at it too, and the passageway leads directly to Storm Terror's lair. Who's to say there aren't other stops along the way? Again, Khaenri'ahs could easily have sent field tillers from their base on the nameless isle into Mondstadt. To me, it really looks like that's what they were planning. Given that Celestia is omnipotent and in control of the Archons and by extension their respective nations, they would want to quell the threat before it escalated out of hand. So to prevent Khaenri'ah from attacking, Celestia sent the Archons to attack them first. Dainsleif and the Abyss Order are the remnants of Khaenri'ah, so naturally they would know where these hideouts are. Dainsleif could have restarted or fixed the field tiller factory and made it operational again so he could finish what he started 500 years ago. And that's it! I was kind of expecting this theory to interfere with my original Khaenri'ah theory, but it all worked out pretty well in the end. Let me know if there are any other places on the map that you think might have been secret bases built by Khaenri'ahs. It wouldn't surprise me if there were more, although it looks like there's a trend of having at least one per country. I'm sure a lot of you already know, but in case you don't, I have a Discord server for Genshin theories. The link to join is in the description and pinned comment. I actually started this theory as a small analysis over there, so if you want to be able to contribute to future theories or just see what my thought process is like, feel free to join. And as always, let me know who you're pulling for so I can wish you good luck! I just got A not too long ago and she's super fun to play with, so if you're still pulling for her, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, besties!